Our town, our TV. Amherst City Cable.
We'll call a meeting of the Finance Committee to order at 7 o'clock on the 6th of April, 2015. Attendance, Mr. Bukovac.
Here.
Mr. Goodell.
Here.
Mr. Janik.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Present.
Mr. Van Druin.
Here.
Mr. Warnarski.
Here.
And the chair is present. We have a notification on file from Mr. Costello. He's out of town on business. Mr. Van Druin.
Excuse Mr. Costello.
Mr. Goodell.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to excuse Mr. Costello. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion is carried 7-0. We have one item on the agenda tonight, and that is agenda number A15-14, authorization to bid and award the 2015 Street Rehabilitation Program, declaring an emergency. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. This is the third step in our road program. You know, the first step was Cooper Foster Park west from the North Lake Street west, doing half of that, and then Route 58 from Cooper Foster Park south to 58. And we spent about, in total dollars on that so far, appropriated about $600,000 for those two projects. So what I did normally spend about between $1 million and $1.1 million on the street program. So I talked to the engineers, and so what we thought we'd do with the hard winter we've had, we'd take the balance that we had left, about $500,000 or so a little bit, and back into the number of the streets we wanted to do. And rather pick up whole streets this year, what we decided to do, since we have so many streets that are in need of repair, we started to decide to look at the streets and break it up into intermittent repairs, so we get more streets done. And since now in advertising and bidding, we're finding that the money isn't going as far. So we're getting, also for the money we've got, we're getting less work done. And so what we decided to do, you'll see in your pass out, which I gave you, the amount of money I'm asking for the balance of our street program. I think it's $532,000. And I have Mr. Appel from Bramwell to come in and explain what our plan is and our approach to this year's program. Aaron?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Appreciate the opportunity to come talk about this year's road program. It's that time of year, weather's turning for the better. Baseball kicks off tonight. If you're a Tribe fan. As you guys know, Northeast Ohio winters are somewhat most brutal in the country. So this year, as the mayor said, we're looking to fix as many roads as we can and spread it around. This year's program consists of North Lake Street, South Lake Street, South Main Street, Milan Avenue, North Main Street, up towards the end by Fulton Road, Terra Lane, North Woodhill Drive, Shady Lawn Drive, Middle Ridge Road, and we also have dollars set aside for crack sealing on various roadways, as well as additional intermittent asphalt repairs on various roadways throughout the city. As the mayor mentioned, this is an intermittent repair program, so in some cases we're going to be doing partial depth repairs, in some cases full depth repairs where it's required. Some cases we're going to be working on the full width of the road. In other cases we may be working on just a portion of that width of the road, like half width, one lane. As typical, we're going to make details, specifications, repair details for the various roads that we're going to be working on. We're going to measure out all those repairs. We're going to bid that project out. As typical, we're going to be looking to receive bids before school lets out, and hopefully start construction shortly after school lets out. first, second week of June. The work is anticipated to be done by middle of August before school goes back in session. As the mayor indicated also, bids are coming in higher right now. Although gas prices are coming down, that helps with the asphalt prices. The labor prices continue to rise though, so that is kind of offsetting the cost savings from the gas right now. It's also, the market is pretty saturated right now. There's a lot out for bid. ODOT has a lot out for bid. Contractors are busy, so prices are creeping up a little bit. We can provide construction inspection like we typically do, full-time inspector, make sure repairs are done in accordance with the plans and specifications. We'll provide as-built where needed. We'll meet contractor pay requests like we typically do. And that's kind of the gist of this year's road program.
Mr. Van Trulen.
So just to be clear, I guess the question is to you and the mayor. Things will be a little bit different this year in that you're going to try to spread more money out to more intermittent repairs on various roadways throughout the city, in addition to these main streets that we're going to focus on, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But the streets that are actually named, they'll
Now,
get more?
that list is not the whole street, that's just intermittent repairs on those streets.
Okay, in
So
addition to many others.
Yes, so wherever the money will take us. So that's why when we go in, like we say North Main Street, we don't mean North Main Street from here out to Cooper Foster Park. We mean intermittent repairs where they're needed on North Main Street.
And the list goes far beyond just the streets mentioned.
If there's money there.
If there's money.
If there's money.
Okay. All right, thank you, that's all the questions I have.
Mr. Bernard.
Thank you. I'm familiar with the intermittent repairs that our city employees do with, I believe it's cold patching and stuff like that. Is this different, bringing in a company or bidding it out, the type of intermittent repairs, or how would you describe them, please?
Yeah, they'll be a little bit more extensive, if you will. It won't be a small 5x5 area that gets repaired. It'll be a longer stretch. Something that city forces really wouldn't typically handle. These will be a lot longer stretches.
Okay, is this different material, different equipment, or same material, same equipment, just different company doing it?
It's different material. Typically, what the city uses is not a hot mix. They can use hot mix, but typically it's a cold mix that's used to make repairs. This is usually put down in the paver. The city does not make repairs for the paver.
Okay.
So it's different materials and methods that get used.
Okay. And we'll get, I know with the cold patch, you hope to fill the hole long enough until you can come back and do the permanent work. This is the permanent work that follows up
That's correct.
what I'm accustomed to as intermittent repair. Okay, that's all.
Also, as part of, that's not in the program, in a couple of areas, we're gonna be do some trial runs with a machine that we're gonna have to pay for the material, but we're having a company come out and look at it. It's called Duro Patch. It's a machine that comes out, it's a different process, but it's related to much smaller jobs and with a new approach. And we're trying that for maybe future purchase of one of these machines if we get to that. So we're gonna have a couple streets that we're gonna be doing that. Then we have a couple streets that we're gonna do some concrete repairs on that are not in the street program because it's not beneficial to do a small area and bid it out. So it'll be under $50,000. So we're gonna be doing some of that too. So this year we're doing a mix of our own patching, the street program patching, the test runs of a Duro Patch machine, and some minimum concrete repairs. So that's all part and encompassed, plus the two big projects of 58 and Cooper Foster Park.
That's all.
Mr. Bukovac.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, you mentioned about the bids coming in with anticipated monies potentially being tighter and work getting done maybe a little bit less than in the past. What was our anticipated collection on the street fund from taxes?
Figure about a million one,
That's our collection?
yeah,
Okay. Do we have anything in balance on that?
yes. We've got, right now, I think we've got, 600,000 without the encumbrances of a couple jobs.
Okay.
Now, what I plan on doing is, just so you know, is I'm working with the auditor on exactly, I keep an eye on the money, as you know, but the...
Didn't notice that.
What I know. Was I want to make sure that we leave some over so we don't starve that account because of next year, even though we anticipate, say, another million coming in from collections, I want to make sure we have enough to make sure the next mayor is comfortable with what he's got. So Dave and I will be talking about that as we get all these projects finalized and we feel about where we're at. So we'll be, because you know, I brought up earlier, if you remember, that the state asked us, could we front some money for this, the 216 resurfacing of 58 South? If you remember, I mentioned that program. We already signed the preliminary legislation on that. So we're gonna have to make a decision collectively here. Do we want to pay that money up front and when? I haven't been notified by the state of it when that money's due yet, if we're gonna do it. But I want to get all this done and all this money encumbered so we know where we're at once we're done.
So that $600,000 that's in the account now, that is in anticipation of the prepaying for the 58?
No, that's Cooper Foster Park and 58 out. This is
But the
not out.
600,000 is still there,
This
that
is
is,
not out.
I
The
understand.
600,000 we got encumbered.
Okay,
This one is not encumbered yet. That's why I'm coming to you tonight to get that done, so we can have it all encumbered, so we can figure where we are financially once we're all done here.
okay. You mentioned also that the 532 is the rest of the budget for, that you were allocated, in addition to the 600 for the 1.1, but that didn't count the engineering fees? That comes out of the street budget still, right?
Yes.
As well.
It's a different account number. The money I'm talking comes out of 206-6006, 52501, which is the capital outlay of
Okay.
the street levy.
Got it, okay. All right, so, some more repair of the concrete roads. You have an estimate, it could be upwards as much as $50,000. Do you have an anticipation of how much that is going to incur? Because that's separate from what we're talking about this evening.
That's separate from here, and believe me, I won't do it unless I can afford it.
Okay, because it sounds like we're already out of money, so that's why I asked.
No, we're not out of money yet.
Okay.
But we're working on it.
All right. That is all I have, thank you.
Mr. Miller?
Thank you. To be considerate of Aaron's time, I can wait until there's no more questions for him. This is a question for mayor and probably auditor. So if I'm the last, I can,
No one else has raised their hand.
okay. So if you didn't want to stand in the middle, I didn't feel bad for you over there. Stuck up front. So, Mr. Mayor, I see that right now, and this is also Dave, could probably chime in, our auditor, our street improvement tax, you like to have about 600 in there, is that what you shoot for as a carryover for the next year?
It varies.
Is that what you try to
Varies from
do?
year to year. Now, these 2 years are gonna be different because of the fact that we've got two major projects going. We've got the rest of Cooper Foster Park, then we'll have the rest of 58. Now, if you remember when I talked to you about that, I was working on the premise before that the rest of 58 was gonna be done in 2017.
Right.
Now they're asking for the money in 2015. So we're already gonna have to look at that and see where we are to feel whether we're really comfortable with that.
And that was about how much would they want for the 217 project?
Well, I would say it's gonna be 138,000 plus any extra work. Remember I talked about 58 North? I talked about the full depth repairs and the catch basins. It's the same proposition for the south, except the south isn't as bad.
Okay.
So I can't tell you. I know it's gonna be at least 138,000 plus about 5 for engineering. We're still reviewing our part of full depth repairs and catch basins, so I can't give you that number yet.
And from what you guys can tell, and maybe this is Siren as well, but from what you can tell, we've got some serious street issues. I saw on here that Woodhill, I saw North Woodhill's on here, but Woodhill is a mess.
Well, we've looked at Woodhill.
And I'm
And
concerned about
Woodhill,
that
if
street.
you're gonna do the whole thing, you're gonna do storm sewers, you're gonna do sanitary sewers, you're gonna repave it, and you might wanna check the water line while you're there. You're talking on $500,000, $600,000.
Just for that stretch.
Just for that. Now, you can also back that up and go into just stormwater repairs and paving. And then you cut that back in terms of total, but you're still talking $300,000 or $400,000, rough numbers without doing a detailed analysis. But I've been looking at that for 3 or 4 years. And it's just, it takes the whole street program, half the street program for one street.
Sure.
And that's why we pushed that back and we paved it, patched it as best we can. But one of these days, we're gonna have to do something there, but that's gonna be an expensive proposition, and it's gonna be determined how far we wanna go in depth.
Right.
Do we wanna do everything, or we just wanna pave it and hope for the best?
Okay. All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I believe that we'll still seem to have a little bit of carryover, and we also know that we're going to have a large carryover of street issues that we're going to be dealing with.
We're gonna have more streets that need to be repaired than we're gonna have the money to do it.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
But
Mayor.
we're still gonna be in good shape, I think.
Okay.
I'll match our streets against anybody in terms of how we maintain them and how we take care of them. So I'm still comfortable with what we're trying to do.
Okay, thank you. Something-
Mr. President?
Just so you guys know, we beat this street program to death this year. We started out paving streets and then we watched the weather and we saw how the weather was freezing and thawing and how the streets were being broke up, and we figured this thing every which way, north and south and east and west, and this is the best thing we came up with as far as street repairs this year, because we've got so much damage, and there's just no other way you can do it. So we didn't do this lightly. We've been working on this for what, 2-3 months, 4 months. So just so you guys know, we really put a lot of time into it this year. So thank you.
Mr. Miller?
Madam Chair, question back out, do you think this Durapatch machine may allow us to get more?
That's why we're testing it. We don't know.
Okay.
We hear good things about it, but the proof of the pudding's in the eating.
And no cities have done it around us that have used it like
Some have done it and they're happy with it, but the thing is, it's another, that's capital expense. It's about 60, I think we said $65,000 with all the attachments and everything. And that's a street maybe.
And that's a machine that can be run by our street crew
Yes.
and our city employees. Fantastic.
But you have to have the manpower to do it also.
Correct. Thank you. That's it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Van True?
I would move to send this on to the floor council with the emergency.
Mr. Goodell?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to take A15-14 to the floor of council with the emergency. Are there further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. It's carried 7-0. That's all I have, Mr. Moore.
Move to adjourn.
Mr. Goodell? There's a motion to adjourn. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye. Those opposed, say nay. We are adjourned with a vote of 7-0 at 7:20.
Serving Amherst and Amherst Township, your hometown television station, Amherst City Cable.